What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TB Toycast YouTube channel. And today we are checking out, from NECA, the Puppet Master Ultimate Jester and Six Shooter. I guess 2-pack in a sense, but it's really just kind of one set. But I'm really excited to check this out. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I do dabble with the NECA figures. You can see there, Captain Spaulding, I recently unboxed from the House of a Thousand Corpses line. Not technically an Ultimate, but kind of still fits in the realm there. But, you know, I gotta go hot and cold with NECA at times, and where I'm really into it, I'm actually, as I record this, I'm staring at several NECA boxes that I haven't unopened, including Dracula and Frankenstein, two heavy hitters. Initially I told myself, okay, so I'm gonna collect the Universal monsters, so, you know, your Frankensteins, your Draculas, Wolfmans, etc., the heavy hitters, and then I'm gonna collect, you know, more modern horror icons from my generation, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, etc. And the first two I pick up are Captain Spaulding and Jester and Six Shooter from Puppet Master. It is what it is, right? But that's, to me, the fun part of collecting. And I think when you're into a line, like I was into NECA, which I'm not as big into right now, I'm sure I'll dip back in again, which, taking a look at this is definitely a cool set. You know, like I said, it's kind of a 2-pack, but also kind of not. There's Six Shooter, of course, with multiple hands, multiple guns, and then, of course, Jester. Lots of extra accessories there. And I love the packaging on this. This is actually one where you almost, like, you hate to open it up, but that's what we got to do. That's the name of the game around here. But, you know, with the NECA line, a lot of these I'm like, I don't know if I need that. But then I look at them more and more, and I'm like, man, those are so cool. So it'll be interesting to see what happens down the road. I mean, because in a month or two, I could be, like, all in on NECA again. It just, I've realized I go into moods, and I get into what I'm into, and I stick with that. And it's different for everybody, of course, but, you know, if I decide, you know what, I'm really wanting to get some Transformers, I go buy Transformers. And same with Star Wars, same with WWE Elite, or, you know, most recently I unboxed a Goosebumps figure. I'm sure you saw the Haunted Mask figure. And now it's just like, you know what, those look fun. I loved Goosebumps books as a kid, and oddly enough, that figure and the other two that I've bought since then have kind of revitalized me wanting to buy Goosebumps books again. The old school ones with the old school artwork. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. It's just it's all a slippery slope. But Puppet Master is a movie I have actually seen. I watched this not too long ago. I got on a bit of a horror kick there for a minute, and I was watching a lot of random horror movies, and kind of realized there was a lot of classics I hadn't actually seen. You know, because we've all probably seen clips or things, but unless you're a diehard horror fan, which I have a lot of friends who are diehard horror fans. Drew Vinsel comes to mind as a big-time horror fan. Probably watches everything, but there's a lot of stuff I hadn't seen, and I definitely hadn't seen Puppet Master. And I also realized I hadn't seen the original Halloween, not all the way through. I'd seen clips, of course, and I've seen bits and pieces, but actually going back and watching it all, you're like, wow, this is a pretty wild movie, you know. So it's definitely cool, and I think it's kind of cool that we're getting horror-based figures. I have dipped into NECA before. I have a few of the Toonie Terror figures. They are not my favorite these days, but I do think it's cool that they dipped now into Universal monsters with those. They have the Back to the Future ones. They have Sesame Street figures now, which NECA is doing also Sesame Street Ultimates, and every fiber of my being is trying to stay away from those, but they are really cool. Like, I don't know. Do you guys ever feel that way where you're like, I don't need that. I'm collecting too many things. Don't need to get that, but then you see it, you're like, oh man, that looks cool. It's a gift and a curse, I guess, being a figure collector at times, because as much as you know, kind of like DC Multiverse, as I check out the Puppet Master figure here, going to open it up. The DC Multiverse line from McFarlane is excellent, and I'm really upset that that's going away, but also in a weird way kind of relieved. It's like, whew, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore. You know, in about a year's time. Opening up these figures. Like I said, this kind of is really cool packaging. Six Shooter there. Lots of hands. Lots of arms, obviously. He is a Six Shooter, of course. And then, of course, Jester. I think it's cool they did these as a 2-pack because that only makes sense. But Puppet Master, I think, definitely falls in that cult classic category, right? I think most people can agree with that. It's definitely a cult classic. Having watched this, and I think could be wrong, there's over 6 Puppet Master movies. There might be more than that. It was not the greatest piece of cinema I've ever seen in my life, but it was a fun watch for sure. And trying to bust this guy out here. Of course, we got to have the twist ties because, you know, that's what we do. And attempt not to cut my fingers off. That's going to happen eventually. Like, it's just going to happen, which I don't want to jinx myself. But, man, it makes you wonder. And you try not to break it. Oh, my gosh. So frustrating. and he's almost out, except the hat. But if you look at him size-wise, he's not the biggest figure, almost like 3 3/4 inch scale. And then you got another figure who's about the same size. Like, is this worth $35? I don't know. I'm not totally convinced this was a good purchase. I mean, they're cool. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I don't know, $35 for this. And that's the thing with NECA, because they are expensive. You kind of question a lot, like, should I be buying this? Like, I mean, for what it is, like when you could get maybe 2 figures for the price of 1. Like, you could almost get 2 DC Multiverse, 2 Mattel Elite, 2 Marvel Legends. I mean, those are a little bit more expensive nowadays, but it's kind of getting up there, and I think that's going to be a big change. I do also believe NECA is responsible for a lot of the price hikes, because I know there's tariffs and a bunch of other things that are out of everyone's control, but prices were already going up before that, and I truly believe it was people, they were seeing NECA stuff not staying on the pegs, not staying on the shelves, and it's like, okay, these are $55 for a Turtles 2-pack, or sometimes $65 or more, or $35 for an Ultimate, and we can't keep them on the shelves. Man, if we're Hasbro, we could definitely be charging $25 for a G.I. Joe or $25 for a Marvel Legends. People will pay it, and that's it's an unfortunate truth, because they are correct. People will pay it. It just kind of sucks, when you have to pay that much money. Jester not holding on to her hat very well. Is it a he, a him? I'm not sure. I guess it's a puppet, so it doesn't matter. Maybe not. Again, not the biggest figure, and even smaller than Six Shooter by a pretty big margin. Got a couple of accessories there, which is cool. A couple extra heads and some extra hands, of course. But again, definitely a different type of figure. And when I bought this, I was at a Best Buy, and I don't know if you guys go to Best Buy much. Best Buy is kind of a nice place to check out if you're into DC or NECA, because they do have a pretty good selection of both. And you really never know what you're going to find. It could be like anything. And that's kind of what is interesting about Best Buy, is like I found this at a Best Buy. I was like, oh, Puppet Master, because I knew it had sold out on some places. I was like, oh, I got to pick that up. But then it's one of those, I don't want to say it's a regret. I don't want to say it's like, I shouldn't have bought that. But it is a little bit like, I don't know if I needed this. There's Six Shooter there. Looks pretty good. I imagine he has a pretty expensive tailor bill to get a 6-sleeve cowboy shirt, but what are you gonna do? But not bad. They're fun for what they are. Like I said, I feel like, I got a little smudge on his head there. That's no good. Yeah, I don't hate these at all, and but I will be honest. I had the thought of not opening it, and I went ahead and did it, but I had the thought of being like, I could probably trade this in and get something else, because like I said, I go in and out of fandoms, of collections and stuff. And last week, I believe it was, I unboxed Tiberius from the Animal Warriors, and part of me was like, do I really need to unbox this? But after I unboxed it, I got so much more invested in the Animal Warriors line. I was like, oh man, these are so cool. I need more of these. Where this hasn't really hit yet. And full disclosure, I recorded this entire video with my mic turned off again, and then recorded another video with my mic turned off, because I can't hear through the mic, so I can't tell if it's on or off. And I'm watching it back to edit it, and I'm like, where's the audio? I'm like, oh no. So I'm having to voice record back over the video, at which point I will then go and re-edit the video. So only like 3 times as much work on these. And for a figure that I wasn't really excited about anyway, that's a heck of a deal. What are you going to do? That's the life of a YouTuber. I'm sure Kyle Peterson's got stories of things going wrong. I know that definitely happened early on with the podcast, where we would have issues and we're like, wait, what's going on here? How come I can't hear this? Or you kind of get up a setup and you're like, oh, this sounds good. And then you listen back, you're like, oh, that sounds horrible. Or one person's voice is super loud, one's super quiet. It's always something. But live and learn, right? I mean, that was back before like Zoom and stuff, where like it recorded everything for you. Totally different nowadays. Zoom's so worth it now. It's so easy. But all in all, I'm getting all the guns and Six Shooters. What is his gun holsters? He's got a bunch of them. He's got 6, of course. But like I said, these are cool. I think with NECA, I'm going to be a lot more selective. I think certain movies, like John Carver from Thanksgiving, I would like to get that. I would like to get, there was that Hard Eyes movie that just came out back in February about this like Valentine's Day killer. fantastic. Would love to get it. I would love to see NECA dip into some of the public domain characters. I would love to see them get the Winnie the Pooh movie. I would love to see them get like the Mousetrap movie about the Mickey Mouse killer guy. The Peter Pan movie, like the Peter Pan killer movie. Like, I think those would be great. Now, they might be a little bit like difficult, and obviously NECA's worked with Disney because they have gargoyles. So that might be a route they don't necessarily want to go. I guess we will see what happens. But all in all, definitely a cool set of figures, but I don't know if I would say it's my favorite. But as you can see, a size comparison there with Captain Spaulding. These are definitely a little bit shorter, but I think they need to be a little bit shorter. I think that's the key to this. And like I said, I don't think these are going to go into my figure Hall of Fame or anything like that, but it is kind of a fun little side thing to have. Like, that's kind of cool. Jester and Six Shooter, for horror fans. And that was kind of my thought with the NECA horror line. I was like, I may buy a few random ones here and there that kind of are like, oh, that's kind of fun. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future, of course. It's always kind of fun to dive into the different stuff, for sure. But I appreciate you guys checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. Make sure to check out some of my other videos. I'm unboxing 3 things every single week. A new video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I believe on Monday this week, I unboxed PN News from Top Rope Collectibles. That was a lot of fun. And then last week, I unboxed a bunch of cool stuff. I dove into 2 new lines, as a matter of fact. I checked out the Haunted Mask figure from the Goosebumps Trick or Treat Studios line. Another horror-based line, which is kind of cool. I checked out the Green Lantern from Super Friends, the McFarlane Toys line. Unboxed that. And I also unboxed on Friday something else that was cool. And that is Tiberius from the Animal Warriors line. Check that out as well. Also check out Tales of the Toy Box. A new episode just dropped on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What's on the Pegs every Saturday as well. And the TB Toycast podcast. Check all of those out. And that's all I got. That is this episode. Thank you guys very much for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That's Jester. That's Six Shooter. And we will see you in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.